PT World. Create PT World.
Create PT World.
Create PT World.
To the Create PT World Club.
Look at the back of that.
Let's go straight into it. How to stand out from the pack.
Okay, how to stand out from the pack. Alright.
Checking you're all awake.
Everyone's okay? We even got
I'm just
Janine up the
going
back.
to turn the volume down a little bit actually.
Okay, the first one, as we talked about before, putting up your prices.
The thing about that is that what we're saying is that you know, the concept of putting up your prices could be a bit risky, and it could be for some people. So what we're suggesting is that there are other ways that you can make more money. So putting up your prices is one way to do it, which is what comes into most people's minds. However, we're going to show you a couple of different ways that you can make more money without feeling like that it's being risky. Does that make sense?
Okay, the first thing you need to do is differentiate your service. Because as we all know, well, I don't know if you know, but there's about 5,000 personal trainers a year graduate in Queensland doing all the same things. So you need to find a way to differentiate your services so people will be more than likely to come to you. Go to the person in the row.
Yeah. So if I come to you and I say, Pam, what do you do?
I'm a personal trainer specialising in body shaping.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Angela?
I'm a personal trainer specialising in osteoporosis
Oh,
prevention.
nice. Stuart?
I'm a personal trainer specialising in
So when we ask that question to most people, what do you think most trainers say? I'm a personal trainer. Yeah.
Stop being a me too. It's like buying petrol, only price. It's realistically the difference.
So what we mean by that is that petrol's a commodity. So you'll find some people that will buy petrol based on price. You know, it's cheaper down the road or whatever. I'll fill up at this time because it's cheaper. The same thing is if you just be like everybody else, then what's going to happen is you get put into that box and you don't look different than anyone else. So the second thing we said is talking about differentiating. How do you stand out from the pack?
Set yourself apart so you have little competitors. So once we said, kind of like you ladies there said with what you do, personal training, specialising in, like a niche market.
Yeah.
And as I said before, about 5,000 graduate each year, so how are you going to set yourself apart?
Now the thing that concerns us the most is because there's a huge number of trainers graduate every year, we know that. However, what we find is that of that very large number of people, there's a very high burnout rate or fallout rate in the industry. And so what concerns us is that people come out and just become that Me Too trainer. They become like everybody else. So what our vision is to create more successful businesses out there, more entrepreneurs, so that we can go and make a huge difference in this world. And that's what we're all about. So what we're going to enlighten you on today is a concept that we've got. We're going to talk a little bit about the bathtub diagram. So if you haven't figured it out already, that's a bathtub.
It's not a very strong diagram. Just think of it as a
Evidenced by the plug down the bottom of the plug hole. Yep. So what you'll see is that what we're going to be talking about in differentiating your services, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can make money, whole bunch of different ways you can be different, you can stand out from the pack. But we're going to show you a couple of categories. So you'll see a vertical axis there, which talks about profit. You'll see a horizontal axis there, which talks about volume. Make sense? Okay, so to understand how this concept or how this principle works, you'll need to understand the concept of the bathtub. So here's our bathtub, there's the plug hole. We're talking high profit there, we're talking high volume, high up there, and low down in the corner there. So what we're saying is that at each of those high points, they're our high profit areas. And just to make that totally clear, if you have a look at the profit axis, you'll see high up there, high profit, which is what we all want, is that on one side of the bathtub on Model 1, we're earning lots of money. And over here on Model 2, we're also earning lots of money. So that's our perfect outcome. Does that make sense? So what we're saying is every single business out there lies somewhere on this curved line. So your business, my business, every single other personal training business out there sits somewhere on this line, and we could probably estimate where different businesses sit via placing a little mark. Okay, some businesses are going to sit right up the top because they're going to be the ones who are making the most money. Some are going to sit up this top because they're the ones making the most money. Others are going to sit down here. Most are going to sit right down the bottom here somewhere. And I'm going to explain to you why. So we're saying the people in the highest profit areas are the ones at the top right and the top left part of this diagram. So what we're saying is the ones on the top left do small volume with large profits. Now, who can give me an example of a scenario where somebody might be able to do small volume with a large profit?
An outdoor group class where they might only do 1 or 2 a week, but there's 6 people in it, so making good money.
That's,
hours.
You're sort of on the right track. However, when I talk volume, we talk about number of clients.
Not hours.
Yeah,
Yep.
number of clients. So
Guess what? You're saying there would be more this side.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
high volume of people, but making a good amount of money
yeah,
in the sessions.
which would be giving away the answer to our next question.
Yeah.
But so I'll ask that one again. High profit but low volume.
Not as many clients, but a higher price.
Absolutely. Yeah. So who can think of an example like that?
Corporate type setup.
Yep. So when we use the word corporate, you mean being able to charge more for a one-on-one session?
Yeah. Going to somebody's office or something like that. and
Yep. So some sort of speciality service. Yep.
Does anyone know what Brad charges for a session?
You?
Yeah.
You've been in that little long one.
Absolutely. So my charge out rates changed quite dramatically in 15 years. It started at $35 an hour. 5 years after that, it was only about $50 an hour. Then it started to change when I started to invest heavily in my own personal growth and my own business development. Quickly went from 50 to 70 to 80 to 90 to 110 back in 2000, 2001. And then I made a decision after that I was going to, every time I change it, it's going to double. So by 2002 it was $220 an hour, and then in 2006 I doubled it again to $440 an hour. So yeah, I'm very proud to stand here and say that here in Brisbane for a 1 hour personal training session I charge $440 an hour. So that's an example of doing low amount of sessions and getting a high profit for that. So we're not sitting here and suggesting that everybody in this room has to go out there and charge $400 an hour. Maybe there are some other ways you can do it, but that's one example. Just to go back, and I'll be surprised if you don't get the answer to this question. Who can give us an example of what might be happening here?
Cheryl?
Would it be perhaps where they're doing lots of people and getting lots of money? Lots of clients.
You got it.
So more of a lower charge out rate,
But
maybe
more-
$10 an hour,
Yeah.
and having 20 people and making $200 or 40 people making $400. Same thing, still getting the same profit from each one, it's just 2 different models.
Yeah, so
Most personal trainers are too afraid to claim either of these 2 extreme positions on the ladder. On the bar. Any reasons why?